Hi everybody, it's Dr. V. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to say thank you to everybody who's liked, subscribed, commented. Those of you who have purchased private readings and have enrolled in the upcoming coaching program, thank you for all your love and support. I appreciate it. Just appreciate this community so much. So today I'm doing a messages from the masculine. That's what this reading is. Also, if you have a moment and you'd like to go check out my website, I just redesigned it, and so it's all new and has some fresh content and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Spirit, please use me as a clear channel for communication. May the messages that come through be in the highest good of all those concerned. I draw a sacred circle around this space, setting my ego to the outside. I call upon my ancestors, guides, counsel, divine wisdom, ascended masters to be with me, guide these messages, protect this energy, and so it is. So I'm doing this a little bit differently today. I'm going to use, this is going to just be 4 cards, and so I'm using 1 card from 4 different decks for the spread, so we're going to get a really nice overview of what's happening. So the current energy of the divine masculine is, I'll just flip it right away. Ooh, the Mystic of Tomes. Wow, so there's some physical growth happening here. Physical, I don't mean physical, like, although they may be working out and getting some muscles or something, but this is literally about growth in the physical material world. This is like, this is a much more mature energy than the masculine has been in quite a while, to be honest with you. They've really been in a space of kind of struggling with their kind of getting it together. This is the king. This would be what equivalent to the King of Pentacles in the traditional tarot. So this is like they're feeling more solid, more grounded, more expansive, feeling like taking care of the small details in life, paying attention to the little things. It feels like to me if there's been some masculines who've had some, like, what we would consider, or I would consider, integrity breaches, where they maybe haven't been honest, or they haven't done things that they're supposed to do, or that they feel that they should do, or they know that their conscience is calling them to do. It's like they're really working on that. This is someone who's recognizing that they're not going to get ahead by trying to cut corners. They're not going to get ahead by being deceptive or dishonest in any way, shape, or form. And so they're really doing the work to shift those energies so that they're not in that space anymore. They're like kind of, it's like they've gotten sick of their own stuff, right? They've gotten tired of being in an energy that doesn't serve them, and they're ready to make some take some different paths. They're stepping into their leadership skills. They're stepping up into more of they're developing into more of that mature masculine energy that we want to see in these kinds of connections. And so this is the Numinous Tarot, by the way. People always ask. It's the Numinous Tarot. And I'm going to use the Kipper cards, the fortune-telling deck by Cairo Marchetti, for blocks. Interesting. So a block for them is sudden wealth. So they may have come into money, you know, they may have had some kind of really good fortune that came to them, and it could perhaps serve as, well, if I was doing things wrong, then I wouldn't be getting blessed the way that I'm getting blessed. And so it could actually contribute to them being a little bit resistant to doing the work that they know that they really need to do. It's like they understand this. They understand that they need to do this work. They know that they can't continue to cut corners and and take the easy route. But then again, if things are working out for you, if you're getting blessed and you're feeling fortunate, even in spite of not being within your own integrity and not doing what you feel like you should do, or knowing internally that you're cutting corners and you're doing things the easy way, you know, what incentive is there to really change? So that could be what's happening, is that there is still being blocked to a certain extent, because on some level they're being blessed and they're feeling that. It doesn't necessarily mean wealth, you know. I'm not reading this message particularly as wealth, like financial abundance, although that could be it. It feels more like things working out, having opportunities, having doors open, and feeling like, okay, things are kind of are working out. Maybe they're not as great as they could be, but they're not terrible either. And so that's sort of the energy that they're in right now, is that's what's blocking them from really fully stepping into their maturity. If things completely fell apart and they had some really hard times, they would be more likely to clean up their act. But if they're, because things are sort of working out, maybe they're very charismatic, or they have a lot of they know how to play the game, it may be actually working in their favor a little bit, and that is keeping them from really maturing. So what is the advice that they have? So what I'm using, I'm reading this as, what advice do they have for you? I wanted to check in with Spirit because I wanted to be clear. So I'm using the Getting into the Vortex cards by Esther and Jerry Hicks, and these are the relationships. So this is basically what they want you to know about how you can get into the vortex, so that you can continue to be listener, can be blessed. And if you're a masculine listening, this could be messages from your higher self too. So it doesn't necessarily mean that this is only applicable to feminines that are listening. So the advice is, the thoughts I think determine the relationship I attract. Wow, that is a pretty strong message. Not only does the power of your thoughts determine which people make their way into your life, but determines how they behave once they get there. You are the thinking, vibrating attractor of your experience, and the thoughts you think determine everything about the life that you live. As you turn your attention toward the positive aspects of the personalities and behaviors of others with whom you share the planet, you will train your point of attraction in the direction of only what you desire. So it's interesting because I'm reading this book. I don't even remember what it's called right now, but it's one of the books that I'm including for the curriculum in the Twin Flame coaching course. And one of the things that the authors talk about is that at one point they were having struggles, difficulties in their relationship, and part of it was because the feminine in the situation was focusing really on the things that her counterpart was not doing. So focusing on how scatterbrained and unorganized, or whatever she was perceiving of him at the time. And the more that she was looking at that, the more of that she saw. And so she realized, I think she said it was like a spiritual training or something, and she spent those times focusing on the things that she loved and focused on the things that she appreciated, and that became more prevalent and more prominent, and that's what she was attracting, what she was creating. And so when she was able to really see her partner in a different light. So I'm going to say my Dr. V catchphrase. So here's the thing, guys. If you're thinking less than positive thoughts about your counterpart, you're going to continue attracting things into your life that are that way. So continue to speak to the king or the queen in them. Continue to speak life into their existence. If you want to stay in this journey, because you don't have to, staying on a twin flame journey is completely optional. I know a lot of people don't believe that, but the spirit is a spirit of free will, okay? Spirit is never, ever, ever going to force its way onto anybody. If you don't want to be on this journey and you want to tap out and you're like, you know what, I don't want to ever hear the word twin flame again, I'm going to move my own way, Spirit's not going to force you onto this path. That's one of the things that we really need to understand in this journey, is that people do have free will. But if you're going to stay on this journey, you're going to have to really, if you find yourself thinking negative thoughts about your counterpart a lot, if you find yourself thinking about, oh, they're just a piece of shit, or they're a liar, or there's this, this, that, and the other, whatever it is for you, and you'll know if that's you'll know what your thoughts are, you'll know what your feelings are. I see it a lot in comments, not so much anymore. There was a while where people would comment really crappy things about their counterparts, but that has stopped by and large. But the fact of the matter is that if you're sitting here and you're like, you know what, my twin flame is a piece of shit, and they're just a pathological liar and complete narcissist, and they're never going to change, guess what? That's going to continue to be your reality. Now, I'm not saying that you can, that your thoughts are creating their behavior or anything like that. That's not all what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that if you keep speaking that into their existence, that's what's going to keep happening. if you start changing your vibration and start thinking positive thoughts about life, about people, even about your counterpart, here's the thing, they're either going to vibrate up into that, to rise up into that energy, or they're going to vibrate out of your life, and you'll attract and connect with other people and other energies that are on that same level. So that's the thing, you focus on what you want to attract. Don't focus on what's not there. Focus on what is there. Focus on what you appreciate. You will attract how you're showing up in the world. That is something that's very difficult for a lot of people to understand and to really live with, because we want to sometimes we want to blame the other person. Let's just be real. Sometimes we want to blame the other person for what we are experiencing, and that's not always the case. We have to look within. We have to look and recognize that the people that we're attracting into our lives are a reflection of where we are internally and spiritually. And we tend to attract people who are who mirror us in some ways. Yes, your twin flame is like a perfect mirror, but other people mirror you a lot. So if you look around at the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and see what kind of energy they have, and see that'll tell you a lot about yourself, okay? So it's important to really be conscious of the things that you're saying and the thoughts that you're having about your counterpart. Because it's going to shift. It has the possibility of shifting things. Like I said, it may not shift their behavior. They may just continue to be who they are. But the thing is that if you're focusing on positivity, you're more likely to attract positivity. I talked a little bit more about this than I intended to, because I feel like there's a lot of really bad teaching about the law of attraction, and people don't often consider things like free will. You don't hear a lot of spiritual teachers talking about things like the law of attraction, and the fact that people don't create their own reality because there are certain things that are a factor. Things like systematic factors, systemic oppression, poverty, capitalism, all of those things, patriarchy, all of those things play a role, and we can't, love and light our way out of those kinds of things. We have to be conscious and intentional about how we approach that. And so I just want to be clear that I'm not trying to tell you like some of that, the new age perspective that if you just shift your thoughts, you can change. I think there are some limits and some boundaries that we have to be conscious of. So, final message is what they want you to know, or what they would say to you if they were able to talk to you right now. And I'm using the "talk to me like I'm someone you love" deck. And I'm just going to pull a card randomly. Wow. Okay, so here's the thing. If they could say something to you right now, if they were speaking to you, your counterpart would say to you, "All I'm feeling right now is your position. I need you to come back so I can relate to you, not your position." So it says, when threatened, we often think that if we don't defend our position, we're not being true to ourselves. Little could be further from the truth. Our positions turn our loved ones into enemies, not confidants. So that is pretty much what I was saying earlier, is that we have to be very conscious of the fact that if you're anchored in your position, that this person is doing this, that, and the other, and all you can see is your position, and you want to continue to be right, you're going to keep repelling or keep the situation at bay. So if you can look and really tap into, I just felt this prompting from spirit for people to really tap into, spend some time thinking about how you felt the first time that you connected with your counterpart, how you felt that the first time that you met, or the first time that you maybe if you saw each other, maybe you connected online or something, and then the first time you met in person, and the feeling, that the way your heart expanded, and that merge that you felt with this other person, and the connection, and the power, and the overwhelming feelings of love. Spend some time focusing on that, just being in that energy, and that's going to automatically shift your vibe. I just did that as we were talking. As I was saying that, I just was imagining that for myself, and feeling that love and that expansiveness, and that I could literally feel the energy around me shift as I tapped into more loving and compassionate and caring feelings about my connection. Now, that doesn't mean that that you have to do that with expectations of the person coming back or being in, coming back for a relationship or anything like that. But just sending out love vibes, sending out that golden rays of love to your counterpart, to humanity, to the rest of the world is going to shift things for you. And it's going to help you get out of wanting to relate from your position of being right or wrong, or who was, who did who dirty or who did who wrong, or getting out of that space and just going back to the love, always coming back and centering to the love that you feel. And that's going to help shift your reality. And it may not shift your connection entirely, like immediately, because people have free will, but it sure as hell is going to shift your reality. It's sure going to change how you're feeling and how you're experiencing life in the world. So I hope that this little mini reading helped. Please let me know if you have any questions. Talk with you soon. Bye.